The new Toyota Tundra is offered with two different engine options, either the 3.4-liter twin-turbo six-cylinder iForce engine or the same engine with a hybrid component, which is the iForce Max. I personally owned the iForce engine for just over a year, and I always wondered, what would the iForce Max feel like? Was I missing out with my standard iForce? And now I've got my hands on the 2023 Toyota Sequoia, which comes standard with the iForce Max engine. In today's video, I want to share a little bit of what my experiences have been owning the iForce for a year, experiencing this iForce Max for a short time now, and what I think about the two powertrains when compared with one another. First off, let's talk about some performance numbers. The SR model of the Tundra comes with the standard iForce engine, but it's a detuned version that's only got 348 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque. The SR5 and up models see an increased 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. The iForce Max sees a nice bump to 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. In both cases, they're paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, because Toyota focused primarily on getting additional horsepower and additional torque with the iForce Max engine, fuel efficiency is pretty similar between the two models, with your standard gas engine on a four-wheel drive model being rated at 17 miles per gallon in the city and 22 miles per gallon on the highway. The iForce Max, in comparison, sees a rating of 19 miles per gallon in the city and 22 miles per gallon on the highway, so only a 2 mile per gallon bump for city driving only. Real-world fuel efficiency, from my experience, is also quite a bit lower with both models. Now, I would have assumed that the iForce Max models would have a higher tow capacity across the board when compared with their standard iForce counterparts. And the reality is that that actually isn't true. It's going to depend on your cab configuration, your bed configuration, as well as whether you've got a rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive model. And it's going to vary some depending on that. What's really interesting, actually, is that the max tow capacity on the Tundra is 12,000 pounds. That's on an SR5 model with the standard iForce engine, double cab, 6.5-foot bed. The max tow capacity for an iForce Max is only 11,450 pounds. And so it's not safe to assume that the iForce Max is going to have a higher tow capacity. In some cases, the iForce holds its own. Now, to its credit, the iForce Max does have a slightly faster 0 to 60 time. On your iForce, it's about 6 seconds. On the iForce Max, you're looking at about 5.6. Now, I've seen these performance numbers for a while now, but really that doesn't tell the whole picture. I wanted to drive the iForce Max and see what the experience was like, see how it compared with that standard iForce engine. And what I've found is that it's basically the same. You can hear it sounds really nice. It's the same artificial sound that you get with your standard iForce. But I think what it really comes down to is that on my iForce Tundra, not once did I feel like there was a lack of horsepower or a lack of torque. It always delivered. It always felt like there was an abundance of power. And so to have the iForce Max now, where you're getting more of both things you didn't really need to begin with, it's just more horsepower and more torque you didn't even need to start with, so you don't really notice the difference. The 0 to 60 time, like I said, is just a fraction of a second faster, so I haven't really noticed that when I accelerate hard. The fuel efficiency numbers maybe are incrementally better. The trip computer is currently reading 16 miles per gallon, so certainly nothing too impressive. Obviously, there are times, being a hybrid, where it will shut off while you're driving at low speeds, and so I've definitely noticed that. But there's by no means this like night and day difference between the iForce and the iForce Max. They're very similar experiences, and they're both great powertrains. They both have a lot of horsepower and a lot of torque with subpar fuel efficiency. And so I think that's what it really comes down to is, yes, it's a great powertrain, but so is the iForce, and I'm not sure that there's really much reason to make the jump from the iForce to the iForce Max given the price premium. So is the iForce Max engine worth it? Well, if you're going to get a Sequoia, you don't even need to worry about it because they come standard with the iForce Max it's a moot point. But if you're looking to get into a Tundra, it's definitely a good question to ask because the iForce Max costs several $1,000s more and it's only available on limited and higher trim levels. So you may be tempted to go to a higher trim level just to get into the iForce Max. Likewise, it's only available in certain cab and bed configurations, so it may narrow down your options a little bit. As we saw, you do get more horsepower, more torque, slightly better city fuel efficiency. It's a little bit quicker, and then tow capacity is going to vary a little bit. And then when it comes to actually driving the iForce Max, it pretty much feels like the iForce. So from my standpoint, probably not worth it, but I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below, especially if you've experienced both the iForce and the iForce Max. For more Toyota videos, be sure to subscribe. In the meantime, thanks for watching.